But ultimately, this is not just a race for votes or lanes; it's for delegates. And so we want to run through that because last night was the second biggest delegate haul to date. And as you might expect, it's another story that's going to end well for Joe Biden. Why don't Alex O'Dunson, why don't you walk us through this since you are our delegate maven and we're busy crunching these numbers last night? Tell us where the race stands and how it got here last night.
Yep, sure. So what you're looking on the screen there are the overall numbers, everything from Iowa to present, including America and Samoa. Don't forget about them. That's why Tulsi's on the board. Um, and essentially, Biden at this point has a 140 delegate lead. That's going to ebb and flow slightly today and over the course of the next week as some of the delegates get closed out. But that will roughly be the story. Is he's got a triple digit lead at this point. So what does that mean in terms of the race overall? It means that it would be rather difficult for Bernie Sanders to catch up, even if he does gain some momentum, even if, let's say, March 17th, bombshell that's about to come for him wasn't in the cards. It would still be difficult for him to catch up because of proportional allocation. Essentially, he would have to start blowing out Biden by some of the same margins that Biden has been blowing him out over the last couple weeks in order to catch up. And you still have Florida on the horizon, you still have Georgia on the horizon. And those are the kind of states that he would have to either pare his losses almost to null, or start winning them. And that does not seem like it's in the cards.
Right. I mean, even if you look beyond next week, and you can't keep saying, "Well, we'll get him next week," and then not get him next week. The kind of delegate-rich states that are out there, you start to look at the Acela primary, which is the second biggest day overall. New York, those kind of states, the Northeast. That's not necessarily Bernie Sanders friendly territory. So, absent some sort of major environmental shift, it's hard to see where Sanders goes. And I think that may be something we're hearing about. In a little over half an hour whenever Sanders comes out, because this is what they're looking at too, right? It seems kind of small. It's like, oh, there's only 600 or 700 delegates, almost 800 delegates that have been allocated to Biden, and it's not even halfway there. But like you said, you have to start winning by these blowout margins. And when you look at the remaining states and what's happened to date, where other than some small states, where has Bernie really kind of won big? That's his problem. There are no winner take all events like there are on the GOP side.
No, I think that's a good point. But I guess like if I were a Bernie bro with a Twitter account, I might. I mean, looking at the small margin, you could sort of be doing maybe the Bloomberg gamble and just hoping for a Biden collapse. Let's see how many auto workers he could scream and shout out, and see whether or not we could take that as a victory. What like go into the debate and sort of just hammer him home. Let's see if he has one of his many Biden-esque gaffes on the trail. I mean, like there you could definitely reason your way to how Sanders should stay in the race, just by looking at this chart here. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we're still waiting on a number of delegates from California that might play in Sanders's favor. And so, I mean, if I'm a Bernie supporter, am I totally off base by thinking that, well, maybe he should stay in?
Well, then you're just buying a lottery ticket, right? That's the environmental change, and that's really what you kind of have to hope for. The old puncher's chance. Maybe the guy's a better boxer, but maybe you just hit him on the nose somehow, and hope for events out of your control.
I,
But
I mean,
again, where does that happen? He was supposed to rack up the delegates last night in Washington, didn't he? I think in 2016 when we had that other chart, he had netted out like 60 votes, 60 delegates. He's not doing that. That's not in the cards for him in Washington. Even if he did that, he's still, a good 70, 80 behind, and that's not happening. So
Right.
where's this going to happen?
I think we're missing the biggest takeaway, and that's that Bernie Sanders has shown that he loses head to head versus Joe Biden. So if you're a Bernie bro, maybe you want Bernie Sanders to drop out so that the other candidate, Tulsi Gabbard, has an opportunity.
Wow.
That's like 3,000 dimensional chess right there.
Wow.